So when are you going to write that nonfiction book that's going to save lives and that's going to teach others how to overcome or how to fix a problem? Hello, this is LaMonique. I am the writing coach, and I help you get your book out of your heart and mind and into a sellable format. Today is the beginning of an adventure on how to write your nonfiction book with me. Let's start with who should write a nonfiction book, right? Well, when you think about nonfiction books, they're usually maybe a how-to step book. They usually help you overcome or help you do something. Because of this, I personally believe the best people to write nonfiction books are ministers, coaches, and speakers, and people in business. Ministers, because your book can inspire others and it can spiritually direct others in the right path. Coaches are excellent candidates for writing nonfiction books because your books can give the beginning steps in coaching and introduce your service. For instance, a financial coach. A financial coach may write a book on the very basic level of how to when it comes to finances. Once that reader uses the steps you've given them in the book and they work, then you have built a trust factor for the reader to engage with you in your coaching services. For instance, I currently have a book called 7 Days of Creation, the book to help you get started and stay on track with writing. These are the beginning steps to writing. And once potential clients read the steps that I outline within the book and they're able to actionably see results, then they're more inclined to contact me and utilize my service. The type of person who is primed up and ready to write a nonfiction book, okay, in the primest position to write a nonfiction book, are speakers. Are you a speaker? And you may be a coach or a minister and be a speaker all in one. And are you typically invited to different events where you're at this level still a non-paid speaker? Being able to go up, speak about a topic, and saying, my books are over on the table afterward is the prime position for a speaker, a minister, and a coach to be in. I saw it firsthand with my own eyes with my client, Stavetta Temple, when she wrote her book, A Broken Heart Made Whole. Now, Stavetta Temple is a minister and a speaker who already had a speaking platform. In many cases, she is not a paid speaker. Once she had her book written, immediately she began to see sales at different speaking events, and she began to be asked to come to even more speaking events and bring her books. So if you're already speaking, you haven't figured out a way to make an income out of speaking, having a book on the table after you speak can exponentially solve that problem. Even if there's other vendors at the event, the fact that you spoke puts you in prime position for sales with your book. And finally, business owners are in top-notch position to write books, especially if you've been in business for a year or more. Even if you don't write about your particular industry topic, you could write about the social media and strategies that you've used in order to grow your business. You could write about the business structure and the process of setting it up on bootstrapping. You could actually write about your particular industry without giving away proprietary secrets. Your nonfiction book could actually act as a funnel that draws people in to order your services or products. All right, so now that we're clear on who should write a nonfiction book, let's get clear on who's going to actually read these books. Identifying who's going to read your book is actually called identifying your target market, or more narrowly defined by the writing and publishing community as your target reader. Now, because I work with inspirational people like coaches, ministers, business people who have a social aspect to their businesses, speakers who all have stories that they write about overcoming and how to, testimonials. A lot of times when I say to them, you need a target market, a target demographic, a target audience, or more narrowly defined to publishing, a target reader, people usually kind of get a little unnerved by that, because in the inspirational field of speaking, coaching, and ministry, and even sometimes business, we want to motivate and help everyone. And so we have to understand that we have to have a target because of time, because of budget constraints, and because of purpose. And that's probably the most important reason to have a target market or a target reader in the case of your book, is because of your purpose. You know, God created us to connect like puzzle pieces and to help others in the same way. Even if you had an unlimited amount of resources, like let's say you're like, I'm not worried about budget constraints. I'm believing God for the financial capital to just be able to help everybody. Even if you could do that, you can only have 24 hours in a day. You can only have 24 hours in a day, no matter what, okay? So I'm going to tell you, there's only really two people, and I'm joking when I say this, but not joking. But there's only two companies that actually can market to everybody, and that's Tide and Coca-Cola. Why? Because they have an unlimited budget to reach an unlimited amount of people, and they've got a huge team. For the rest of us, there's target markets. So you're going to want to define it, because we've heard the term before when people say, like, you don't want to just throw spaghetti on the wall and then hope something sticks. In the example of ministers, we can think about church members, people in the body of Christ, people who have been hearing a pull from God, but they still have not accepted Christ, but they're primed and ready for a problem to be solved that will lead them to the Lord. When it comes to coaches and speakers and business people, how-to books are excellent, and books that help to solve problems, that overcome situations, are excellent. So think about who your people are, what problems they have, and what have you overcame, or what have you solved in your own business or life that you could write about. When you write your book to a reader, you're solving a particular problem. Even if it just emotionally comforts them, it needs to speak to someone. If you don't speak to someone and you try to speak to everyone, you kind of end up speaking to no one. And so this is the part of marketing that is a part of your book right from the beginning. So I want you to be thinking about that before you write your book. Which that leads me into the next phase of writing a nonfiction book. What should you write? As a writing coach, I have found with my clients, the ones who do the best are the ones who are open and they're transparent and they get with God and they write what's real and what's authentic. It's not really the books that you typically find in probably the religious section of the bookstore, but they just get real about problems. Like, for instance, one of my clients' books focuses on marriage and prison wives. One of my clients focuses on not being a side chick anymore, overcoming that. Like, real, authentic problems. People love buying books about real, authentic problems. So if you can be real and raw. Now, of course, if you're married, if there's other people involved, you definitely need to get their permission first. But I'm telling you, those kind of books fly off the shelves, to speak. The next thing you can write about, as I spoke before, is an overcoming testimony. And even if you're still in the middle of the issue, you can write about how you have peace in the midst of it and ways you have found to cope with the issue where it's not a problem for you, where it no longer feels like a problem until the actual problem is solved. Or you can actually help solve the problem for them, especially with a step-by-step how-to book. What I want to do is guide you to what I call the God factor. And the first chapter in my book, I call it the God factor. Because with the God factor, it's like God puts his super on your natural. When you seek him in helping you with your outline of your book, like, I'm so serious, right? When you let God put his super on your natural, that is like the best marketing plan. I know I've given you some marketing advice to start out with when you're writing your book, but that is the best marketing plan anybody could ask for. And I promise you, that is what my clients have done. And some of them, even though I helped them with their marketing, God grew them exponentially with their marketing because they had the God factor. I want to tell you, I have been a writer all my life. Ever since I was a child, anything that I wanted to say eloquently and get it across to someone where they understood it, I did it with words. Like, literally, sometimes people were shocked that because I was like really kind of like what I would term as the bad seed, or like the black sheep of the family growing up. So when I would write something, like, people would be floored. They like, I didn't know you had that much intellect because of, all the shenanigans that I did as a child. And so this all throughout, from child to adulthood, I would write poems. I wrote short blog posts and articles, but I really didn't write a book until I was around 40 or nearly 40 years old. And I just believe that was the season. That was finally the season. And I don't want to scare you, okay? But your words are like immortal. Like, once they're out there in a book and an ebook format, they're like immortal. And if we are followers of Christ, we definitely want to be putting the right information and the right things out there. So I believe the reason it was the right time is because I had developed and sharpened and, with God in some things to where what I was putting out there was good stuff. Things that God was like, yes, okay, now you can put it out there. Okay, now I was not able to write a book until it was my season. I believe if you're listening or hearing or watching me right now, that it is your season. It is not by coincidence that you're hearing this video right now. Now is your season. Okay? What are you going to do about it? If that's you, definitely contact me at any of my links below. You can DM me, email me, and let me know. Say, LaMonique, this is my season. And we'll get together for a 30-minute phone call. We'll just figure out what you're trying to write. Let me know in the comments what other videos on writing to move you forward with your writing you would like to see. Until next time, this is LaMonique Mack, the writing coach, and I help you get your book out of your heart and mind and into a sellable format. God bless.